Hello, everyone. We are in the course called Nationalism and Constitutional Growth in India, 1858 to 1920. It's a MOOC Swayam course. I'm Parvez Alam. I teach political science at the Department of Political Science, Aligarh Muslim University. Today, we are going to talk about formation of one of the political outfit in pre-independent India, which in a way is known for having a movement for a separate state for Muslims. Of course, the initial demands were in a way fueled by the British policy of divide and rule, where the partition of Bengal was one of the issue which in a way germinated the entire question of separate electorate, which was acknowledged by Monumental reforms of 1909, which we have discussed in previous lectures. Let us see that what is the background of All India Muslim League's formation, what activities they were doing, what sort of questions they were raising, and who all were part of the leadership of All India Muslim League. If we see the background of AIML, it's a parallel kind of formation, parallel formation in the sense that parallel the partition of Bengal and also All India Muslim League. In 1906 in Dhaka, it was formed by Muslim aristocrats, businessmen, and intellectuals. As I said, that they were demanding for greater rights for Muslims within British India, and indeed they demanded initially, but then later on culminated into a very different kind of movement. Well, Indian National Congress, as we saw in previous lectures, through the formations of again within the Indian National Congress, that what we call it moderates and extremists, it was not a kind of communal political party or communal sort of uh, organization, but the kind of activity from the platform of Indian National Congress were happening, and the leadership particularly, like extremists, that in a way created a kind of trust deficit among Indian Muslims, that Indian National Congress in a way is only considering the symbols which are outrightly Hindu symbols, and hence Muslims or other political sort of communities or other communities who wants to raise their demands, then definitely they need to have a separate political group. So All India Muslim League, in a way, uh, was the response to uh, these pressing need of having a separate political group, and that became a kind of alternative political group to the Indian National Congress, which aimed at representing the interests of Indian Muslims. Uh, as I said that you know it in fact it predates to even 5 years ago, where some of the Muslim leaders were raising the very issue of having something like Muslim political party by 1901, and the meeting to form uh, the Muslim political party, in fact, you know, uh, started in Lucknow in September 1906, with the participation of representatives from all over India, which culminated to the foundation uh, in 1906 in Dhaka. Now, as I said, what was the reason? The reason is, of course, obvious. It was, and we have in fact got that how the very division of that what we call it extremists and the moderates, that division itself was the in some sense the divide and rule policy. Now Hindus and Muslims are also going to be divided into two political entity. Uh, so uh, British India or British Raj in a way, uh, in fact, cherished this policy of divide and rule, and in fact, you know, because of this divide and rule, there was some kind of discord. There was some kind of uh, misunderstanding among the political leaders, and ultimately, kind of British Raj was able to persist, and also able to kind of uh, counter the very massive force if combined together the energies of say moderates or extremists, or two communities together like Hindus and Muslims, which happened for almost 1 year. Hindus and Muslims actually uh, took over the company rule during the revolt of 1857. So, in a way, uh, formation of All India Muslim League uh, was the alternative to the Muslims' interest, precisely because British policy of divide and rule, in a way, informed Muslims that we will be doing favor to Muslims of India if you um, sideline with the you know or sort of um, just set aside the any kind of alignment with the Indian National Congress. So it was the uh, heightened differences between Hindus and Muslims, uh, where divide and rule actually uh, worked. Um, to some extent, uh, it was in fact the divide and rule. In fact, was a very successful strategy, which we have actually discussed in uh, many of the lectures at length. Um, Particularly, uh, the kind of machinery, the kind of information, or misinformation to some extent, which was creating trust deficit among the communities. Uh, through media reports, through writings, through also favoring one community over the other, and kind of the other community uh, having kind of understanding that it's uh, it's undue favor, or rather it's not really the other people are kind of aligning with the British government, and hence our movement is going to be in a way uh, um, derailed, and and British Raj is going to sort of extend its policy of domination, and the policy of control. Um, so divide and rule in a way was one of the reason for formation, which of course um, political parties by that time was unaware. I mean, they were not unaware, but they were kind of uh, unaware to some extent that what is going to be the implication of this unawareness, right? I mean, they were unaware in that sense. Uh, Also, the disparity was in fact also to some extent crystal clear among the Hindus and Muslims, and to some extent the uh, there was a kind of Hindu-centric focus of Congress, and that kind of created a disparity. It was indeed not a parity among Hindus and Muslims, rather disparity. And this kind of created certain kind of resentment, discontent among Muslims. Now, Muslims sought equal importance, um, recognition of Muslim historical figures, and also a separate party. Um, you know, I mean, there were nationalist movements, with prior to even Indian National Congress, or by that time, this is a very robust kind of, nationalist assertion by the Muslims, uh, which was in a way proven in 1857, of course, where they were slaughtered, rather, if I can use this word, uh, they on the streets of Delhi, but also from Meerut to Delhi, that what historians write, you know, the dead bodies hanging on the trees. Uh, so Muslims, in a way, uh, contributed immensely in the you know life and blood of the freedom movement. They were in fact the initiator of freedom movement, starting from 1857. uh, Deoband movement to some extent, uh, Maulana Gangohi to Nanatvi, or Faraizi movement, or Fakir movement, or many other movements, um, very local kind of movements led by Maulvis and Imams against the British, policies and domination. So, when Indian National Congress took over as the main political player, Muslims, in a way, thought that it's the rather non recognition of their contribution, and the entire movement of freedom, or movement for freedom, has been captured or hijacked by focusing on Hindu centric issues, uh, whether employing the methods and strategies of festivals like Shivaji festival or Ganesh Chaturthi festival, or using all sort of Hindu symbols by breaking coconut during the annual sessions of Congress. That in a way created certain kind of discomfort among the Muslim political leaders, and and also that was in a way uh, you know I mean, and this entire discomfort was in a way fueled by the British Raj, right, or British government, right. So so I mean the formation story has which started in September in Lucknow, where representatives met. Then by 1st of October 1906, 35 Muslim delegates met Lord Minto, uh, which is called Shimla deputation. So this Shimla deputation was led by Aga Khan III, uh, where Indian Muslims were encouraged to form a separate political party. So, as I said, that the British government was in a way very much uh, while favoring, were not favoring per se, but the very purpose of favoring had also a political intent of creating a kind of counterbalance to the Indian National Congress movement. And this need a kind of uh, qualification to say that Indian National Congress, of course, was not a Hindu dominated political parties. They were leaders within the Indian National Congress who did not align with the formation of All India Muslim League, or they were not part of the formation of All India Muslim League. Rather, they thought about it, and then they thought that I mean, nothing wrong in having religious kind of activity in Indian National Congress. One can in fact have the accommodation of Muslims as well within the fold of Indian National Congress, which they can only do when they are united with Indian National Congress, and within that they can argue, they can in fact kind of raise their issues and demands, but being united uh, will be kind of able to achieve the purpose, the goal of independence, and of course equality, and many other things. So by 30th December 1906, All India Muslim League established in Dhaka. Now, if we can talk a little bit about the Shimla deputation, um, the as I said, the Lucknow uh, the meeting in 1906 September, and Shimla deputation in October, and then formation of AIML in December in Dhaka. So these kind of this is a chronology of this formation in 1906. The Shimla deputation reconsidered the issue uh, in October 1906, and Aga Khan led the delegation where they met Lord Minto, and they decided to frame the objectives of the party on the occasion of the annual meeting of the educational conference, which was scheduled to be held in Dhaka in December. Meanwhile, Nawab Salimullah Khan published a detailed scheme through which he suggested the party to be named All India Muslim Confederacy. Shimla Deputation 1906 was a landmark in history in modern Muslim India, uh, and the Hindu-Muslim conflict was lifted to constitutional plane. If you see the Indian Council Act of 1892, where Indian majority, in fact, owing to joint electorate, the partition of Bengal, as I said, 1905. They in London, in Britain, you have a victory of Liberal Party in 1905. John Morley, comes in India as a Secretary of State in July 1906, and Morley came with the intent of announcing constitutional reforms in India. Um, the letter of Haji Ismail to Nawab Mohsin Mulk was sent, uh, where basically the letter was about preparation for Shimla deputation, and the arrangement of meetings among Muslim personalities like Mohsin ul Mulk, Waqar ul Mulk, and Aga Khan. Mohsin ul Mulk got the memorial signed by nearly, nearly like 1,40,000 Muslims from Peshawar to Bihar. Mr. Archbold, who was principal of MAO College, contacted Dunlop Smith, who was the private secretary of Viceroy, and arranged a meeting between Muslims and Lord Minto in Shimla. Now, the deputation went there, and it was comprising of 35 delegates, 35 leaders headed by Aga Khan, Sir Aga Khan, who met Viceroy Lord Minto at Shimla on October 1, 1906. Now, the draft of Shimla deputation was written by Sayyid Ali Bilgharami, and this draft was presented to the Viceroy, as the demands or objectives, and some of the demands were like Muslims should be given the right to vote under separate electoral system, and this demand is in fact taken care in the 1909 constitutional reform. Also, the Muslims should be given representation in the Imperial Legislative Council in excess of their population. The electoral system should be given preference over nomination system as far as possible. The Muslims should be given due share in the gazetted and non-gazetted cadres. The Muslims should be appointed as judges of high courts as well as the chief courts. Seats should be reserved for Muslims in the Senate and Syndicate of various universities. Financial help should be given for setting up a Muslim university. Muslims should be given a representation in the Executive Council of Viceroy. Also, these demands, in a way, very concerted demands, led to formation of All India Muslim League in Dhaka and ultimately this these demands in a way resulted in acknowledgement of, or granting of separate electoral or separate electorate, you know to the Muslims in Morley Minto reforms. It created a kind of unity among Muslims, and you know they kind of got the very taste of success to some extent, thinking that uh, you know if if 35 Muslim delegation can actually achieve these demands in a very short period of time, um, their confidence got boosted that they must go ahead with the separate kind of uh, politics to achieve their goals by negotiating with British government, and British government in a way would be favoring them in terms of giving representation and also reserving seats to them uh, in the uh, in the jobs and also in judiciary and other fields. Now, this in a way created a kind of Hindu-Muslim conflicts. In fact, uh, to the level of constitutional level, they that can be seen, and then also distrust, kind of also happened among both of the communities vis-a-vis each other, and ultimately, this resulted into very separate kind of political activity. Now, what were the objectives of the All India Muslim League? If we can just run through, um, the objectives were basically to prevent hostility and advocating for Muslim rights to British government, and also to some extent, demonstrating loyalty and cooperation with the British government, and and this will in a way ensure Muslim rights, education, and representation in administration. Uh, excuse me. If we see uh, the very first honorary president was Aga Khan III, who is also known as Sultan Muhammad Shah. He was appointed, as the uh, first honorary president of the Muslim League. Though he did not attend the Dhaka inaugural session in 1913, Muhammad Ali Jinnah joined the Muslim League. Initially, the league was designed to prepare students for service to the British Raj. However, it exploded into political activity. So even British Raj, thinking that they uh, almost like similar, like that A.O. Hume is creating a safety valve kind of thing for Indian National Congress, but it exploded into political activity where Muslim League and Indian National Congress joined hand together and kind of fighting for the um, freedom. So to some extent, I mean, this also resulted into explosion of political activity. So formation of Muslim League in a way brought Morley into reforms, and later, almost 30 years after the the what is called Pakistan demand for Pakistan, where we see that Morley Minto reforms in 1909 accepted the proposal of separate Muslim representation. which in a way was a milestone for Muslim identity. 1940 in Lahore resolution, there was call for Pakistan, which in a way, um, I mean, Sir Allama Iqbal, you know, was for confederation of Muslim dominated state within the territorial imagination of India, but then that was interpreted in a way later as a territorial entity, which is antithetical to the very understanding of the conception of Ummah, Wataniyat, and other kind of concepts within Islam. There were many leaders like Maulana Azad and Hussain Ahmad Madani who were not the very supporter, rather they were arch rivals of any kind of demand for a separate state. They thought about it's a Ganga Jamuni Tehzeeb or the composite nationalism, which is a guiding force for Indian, communities. Uh, Later, we see that Muslim League, in fact, in present day India is limited to Kerala, while in Pakistan, again, it underwent divisions and formed many parties, and in fact, it is rather uh, it is rather not really a big force to say in Pakistan as well, though of course political parties they have formed by keeping the legacy of the Muslim League in their name. So we have covered to some extent the formation of All India Muslim League. Thank you so much. We will see in the next lecture, which will be on a home rule movement, led by two very stalwarts of freedom movement called Annie Besant and Bal Gangadhar Tilak. Thank you.